So yeah, episode 10. Alright, so basically I went to the track 2 times and I kind of found out what was working and not working with the car. So this episode is basically I just fix all that kind of stuff that I didn't really like. So the first thing was getting a racing seat installed in the car. And that's just because with the stock seat, I would smash my knee on the e-brake and get just from tossing around so much in the car. Dude, the amount of thrashing in my seat, I keep hitting this e-brake button. Like, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a bruise here by the end of the night. It's like straight up, like just like into that. And on top of that, like I'd go and like try and reach for the clutch, but then instead I'd be pushing like somewhat on the brake, just because my feet would get so disoriented. So definitely wanted a racing seat to go ahead and then be actually able to sit in the car and control it like I wanted to. Alright, so the plan was to pick up the seat on the way to going to the track and then installing it at the track and then being able to drive it that day. So the first thing I did before leaving was check the seat brackets and just make sure that they would bolt up so that way I'd actually be able to install it over at the track. However, when doing that, I found out that one of the mounting points is a little messed up, so yeah. So I'm over here test fitting the brackets for a bucket seat I'm about to buy. Okay, I go ahead, that side lines up okay, go move to this side, and the holes aren't lining up for some reason. I'm like, why is that? Go over here, move the deadening and everything. Look at this thing. Do you see how it's all buckled up over here? You see that? This thing is sitting crooked when it should be sitting flat. You can see where they jacked it up and then it pushed the floor up. Okay, you guys ready? You see how this side looks? You see how nice and flat? You put this down. Looks good. Okay, and now look how buckled and smashed to the side this one is. So I already did a little bit hitting. Basically this is what I'm doing. So then after fixing that one mounting point, I went ahead and headed to the track, and it was just an absolute terrible fitment with that bracket and trying to get everything to work. I have my seat finally installed, even though it's ridiculously high. My helmet almost touches the roof, so I gotta get home and like chop and mount that correctly. And the shifter's like pretty low compared to the seat now, which makes it kind of awkward. So I just decided to leave like after 20 minutes of being at the track and just come home and then just try and modify the bracket in order to get it as low as I could, and in order to get it to sit properly, because my head was hitting the top of the roof with my helmet on, which obviously is ridiculous to have if I go to the track all the time and I'm required to have a helmet. Okay, so now here's the seat that I have to modify the bracket for, and this right here is a PLM or private label manufacturing seat bracket and slider combination, all that. And I'm going to have to be modifying this in order to fit properly because, well, just on the level floor you can see. I mean, it sits pretty crooked. And this is exactly how it sits in the car too. Also crooked. Not only that, but the seat over here, it sits way too tall. Okay, so in the car with the helmet on, my head hits the roof, and obviously that's an issue because I wear a helmet when I'm going on the track. So. Oh, and that also just doesn't feel right in general because the shift knob is now way lower than what you expect it to be because you're sitting so high. So the first step in that process was to modify the right side of the bracket to see how low I could get it to go. And I basically did that by just taking a little Dremel rotary tool to it. So here it sits right now. You can see the right side leaning down and the left side up. So now I gotta figure out how much to drop the left side, and then once I do that, I can, get some sort of a mount done, and then sit in it, and then see how the clearance is with my helmet. And then with the right side modified, I finally went ahead and tackled the left side of the bracket and got that to go as low as I possibly could get it to go. Okay. Now the back is the only portion that seems to be holding up this front section. and this looks to be about 1 inch difference. So it's actually more like 1 1/4, but I'll just start with 1 inch to see how it settles down. Okay, so here's the game plan. Get this torch, heat this baby up, smack it with a big hammer. See how it goes, yeah? It's like the sickest low mount ever, bro. I'm gonna sell this. Say at least this is comparable to at least to a Bride low max right here, minimum. If you're as surprised as I am that this fits, we're on the same boat. Honestly, man. Got that baby cut. I guarantee you, like 9 out of 10, this isn't gonna fit right now. Oh my goodness, dude, look at this. It actually fits. Oh my goodness. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put the bracket on for the seat, bolt the seat up, then we can go ahead and look at how exactly this baby sits. You can see it. See how it's kind of leaning to the left. Then again, that cushion is kind of messed up at the top there, and I already felt it. It's kind of cushion bulge on that top right. See how it goes up? So it seems a little, but it does seem a little to the left. You guys can probably tell. And that's just whatever. So this is my helmet, and you can see there's still me sitting all the way up. So it's nice. I have, you know, this much room. That's what I'm asking for. So that's pretty solid. So what I'm going to be doing is just using a cutoff disc on a grinder and cutting off the top 2 holes, and then using a grinder to round it out, so that way it's 3 and 3, just matching the front, and then that way it's not going on top of this plastic piece right here for the harness. Alright, here's our final result. It's a little lopsided, but, you know. Now, as far as installing the seat goes, all the bolts that hold the side mount brackets to the seat, or to the, you know, sliders over here, you can basically snug them down until they're basically 1 turn away from stopping this bracket from moving side to side like this. Okay, and then also these Allen bolts up here, you can also leave them loose until they're about 1 turn from moving away. And the reason for that is you want to have some place. That way when you stick it in there, you can go ahead and tighten down your base. Following that, you can go ahead and position the seat as you want, you know, and be straightened out a little bit. And then once you do that, you can go and tighten these bolts up underneath. And then once you tighten those bolts up, you know, the seat will be sitting stable. And once it is sitting stable like that, you can go ahead and pull the seat out and be able to tighten everything, like these Allens that you can't really reach, or the nuts underneath, which are hard to reach when the seat is in the car. So basically we're going to put it in right now, then adjust it, and then tighten it, and then pull it out, and then fully tighten it and put it in. And then once everything's put in, you have a racing seat. I'm about to fall over, I'm so tired right now. Alright, now if you're wondering why I only got one seat instead of two of them to match, and you're like, oh, it's all offset, you know, you gotta have a matching pair. The reason for that is fixed back racing seats like these, you're really like limited to your waist size. So this seat right here, I'm a 32 size waist and it's pretty tight. A 34, maybe squeezing really hard, a 36-inch waist might be able to fit. But anything above that, really, you're not gonna get into this seat. So of course, I like having passengers in my car. I don't want to like turn down someone because they can't fit inside of a bucket seat. So of course, I left the passenger seat stock, so any person, any size, can fit in there. And then of course, this is good for me, and then you know a couple other people really that can drive my car. So that's why I got this. As far as the seat, this is a Sonic Motors VS3 fixed back seat, and this is basically a Bride replica, except without all the Bride logoing on it. And you can actually pay $100 additional to get Bride logoing. But for me, I just don't support like fake seats like that. So hence why this just has the regular thing. And if you're wondering on price as well, these are $180 if you pick them up in person from Sonic Motors. Cash, of course. Yeah, but overall, I mean, the quality is pretty great on there. I already have I know people running basically the same seat except the fake Bride versions of it. And yeah, same exact thing. I mean, solid seat, so no complaints. So finally, with all that said and done, I finally got that PLM bracket to fit in there and actually sit decently low, so now I can actually, you know, drive the car and wear my helmet and everything in the car. Next thing to tackle was getting the e-brake to actually lock up the rear wheels, because before it would just slow the car down like 10 miles an hour. So the first thing to do was go ahead and adjust the e-brake cable. Alright, so basically for adjusting the e-brake, it's just a 10mm nut over here on the e-brake. Okay, and I just have everything taken apart so you can see it, but basically you just go down here and you can go ahead and then, you know, clockwise, you know, tighten up, and then you can go backwards to loosen it, and you can basically just make it so your e-brake is tight. And then following that, go ahead and put new pads in the rear. And I've adjusted my e-brake cable, and it still doesn't lock up the tires. And even when I was at the track with my Steelies, my drift set of tires at like 55 PSI, it still didn't lock it up. So I adjusted the cable over there, not locking up. And I read online, a lot of guys are using, what is it? Autozone brake pads, the cheapest ones over there. So these are the cheapest ones at Autozone. It's about $14.99. So people say you get good results with them, so that's what I'm going to be putting in today. So then hopefully when I go to the track tomorrow, it's actually able to lock up the wheels. So I'm going to put these in and drive it around, and then I'll let you guys know if it actually does end up locking it up good. Pretty simple concept. Two, with the e-brake disconnected. Okay, put that aside, make sure it's not hanging on the brake line. One pad. Second pad. Then I just gotta open this. Just leave that like that. That way, if any fluid needs to come back out when we're pushing the piston in, it can freely go out without any of that pressure. Gonna take this. Needle nose. Twist it in. To allow room for the new brake pads, which have brand new meat on them. Okay, so the two pads are in now. Just gonna go ahead and put this baby back in. Alright, and that's about it. Alright, so with all that out of the way, the next thing to do is paint my wheels. Now, if you want to know why I went with the gloss black, the reason for that is just that the wheels were so chipped and damaged in random places, and on top of that, I couldn't get all the old coating off so you could tell the texture from it. I didn't want to go with a light color because I knew that that would show a lot of the detail, and the wheels really aren't that great, so I didn't want to do that. So I wanted to kind of cover up that detail, so I used the gloss black. On top of that, I think gloss black actually it looks pretty good, and I know you guys are going to ask, why didn't I use Plastidip? And I didn't use Plastidip because I don't like flat black, and on top of that, I also don't like Plastidip just because I think it's just a pain, especially on wheels where you're constantly taking them off and, you know, changing lug nuts and tires on them, and then on top of that, I spin out on the track, so it just, like, Plastidip would just come off super easily in, like, no time. Alright guys, so today, finally going to be repainting these wheels. So obviously, step number one, remove the wheels. Nice. Alright, now as you can see, these wheels are pretty badly curved. Especially this one over here, which, as you can see, that one has a big dent right there. So, what I'm going to be doing is going over each of these wheels and essentially hammering out the big dents like that. And on top of hammering out those big dents, I'm going to be sanding down a lot of this curb rash just so that way it doesn't cut me, because I have been cut quite a few times actually from the curb rash on the wheels. So, yep. Alright, so that's what I could get it down to. I think it looks better than before. So now what I'm going to do is start, you know, just sanding down and making the curb rash a little smoother. Now it's time to clean it. So right here is the aircraft paint remover. I got the one in the can because these are meshes, and obviously meshes are really hard to get in all the cracks and stuff with a paintbrush, so I figured spray can would probably be better. Valve stems have already been taped off just to prevent them because this is super acidic. Alright, let's go. Alright, so I basically masked up everything in preparation for painting, but couldn't get all the coating off like I wanted to. I had a sandblaster, so I used 80 grit glass bead, and it still didn't get it off. You can see the pieces right here. And I also bought soda blast media as well, and still didn't get it off. And then my dad was just telling me it's not really worth it for the wheels that are this curved and everything. So just go ahead and just spray on top of whatever I have right now, because it'll look better than before, but it's not really going to matter. So right now, this like the least care I've given in painting something. So. Okay, so the paint I'm using is Rust-Oleum. So what we have right here is a primer. Following the primer, I'm going with gloss black. And then of course clear coat. I'm going to see how it goes with the clear coat. I might or might not do it, but we'll see. So the plan is primer, gloss black, and then clear coat. This is legit going to be the most decaf thing I've ever done. Okay, that's after 2 coats of primer. And this one can. So that was kind of like a third-ish coat. Now I'm going to go ahead and spray the black. Bro, that looks so sick. So sick. Doesn't it look sick with the black and then the gray center? Kind of. Alright, right now I don't know how many coats, but it wasn't really spraying on them. I was just trying to get all the little mesh pieces in there fully covered instead of gray looking, so I think I accomplished that. Really, I only needed 1 can. If I would have focused on those meshes earlier, because then it would have naturally covered the rest. But I opened up the second can and just did a little bit of it. So yeah, as far as coverage goes, it's a good amount of paint. Okay. Here's the clear coat, gloss of course, and everything is basically just recoat time is within an hour. So you can tell this is tacky, which is what you're looking for recoat, which I mean in the sun like this, only going to take maybe 2-3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. And so I think we're good to recoat or clear coat it now. I think they look much better than what they were. I think it'll look pretty sick. Oh yeah, another thing is when I masked it, I used all, masking tape on here. And a lot of people, they use the, like a deck of cards or index cards to go around the bead of the wheel. And then, when they do that, then they go ahead and when they spray paint, it's like perfectly masked off and they don't have to spend all the time doing the tape. But whenever you do that, the cards kind of stick up like this. So it makes it a lot harder in order to spray down into like where the bead meets the wheel. And so then you'll have like a little area where you'll see silver sometimes, of the previous color rather than all black. So I went ahead and took the extra time and then went ahead and masked it to try and get that effect. Now, of course, if you see these in person, because video doesn't really do it justice, you'll see blemishes, like right here, over there. However, given that the wheels are really curved, I mean, they're found in a junkyard, and it's, like what they were before the finish, I think this is an improvement. Alright, it's been sitting for more than a few hours now, so let's see what's happening. You see that? I don't know if you can see it, but all you can see is black, which is what I wanted. Hopefully it turns out like that. More than likely than not, there's going to be a missing patch and I have to touch it up, but that's life. Wow, that looks pretty sick. Alright, so I've let the wheels dry for about 3 days now. Also let them sit outside in the sun just to make sure it was pretty dry. So now I'm going to go ahead and put them on the 240. Alright, and now here we are done. In person you can see the spokes a lot better, but I think it looks pretty good. It's a little, I'd say like a little blandish. I mean, it looks pretty sick, but at the same time, you know, it's like you could have some more pop in there. So I have a few ideas for how to do that. Maybe a little later on, we'll see what's happening, but I think it looks cleaner, at least, than before. Alright, so that basically concludes episode 10. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Of course, as always, you can go ahead and leave me a comment for any questions that you guys have, and I'll answer them. You can go ahead and like the video, of course, if you like the video, or you just want to make my day as always. And on top of that, if you want to stay updated on future little build stuff, and also going to the track with this car, you can go ahead and subscribe. As far as this car right now, this is, I'd say, one of the last episodes for the build, because the car is where I want it to be. I can go ahead and just focus on learning to drift now and just becoming a better driver. And then, yeah, after that, I'm planning basically just another build, which would be way better. So, yeah, that basically sums it up. I hope you guys enjoy, and I guess after this, I'll see you guys at Willow. So, there we go. Much shorter, you know, weight savings, of course. So, you know, I'll probably be ahead of the competition now. Looking forward to my season of Formula Drift, and, you know, it'd be really good because I'll have this weight advantage that no one else will have. So, yeah, thank you for all my sponsors.